Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. Here you get relevant and timely content you won't find anywhere else. You can learn more by going to mustreadalaska.com, and this show can be found on YouTube, Facebook, X, and your favorite podcast site. Let's talk truth about politics, the economy, and all things Alaska. Now, the host of the show, former state legislator, combat veteran, small business owner, and all-around great guy, Ben Carpenter.
Hello and welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. I'm your host, Ben Carpenter. We have a special guest with us today. Donna Anderson is a retired teacher and concerned parent and has been active in our education system here for a number of years. Donna, can you tell us what made you interested in dealing with the education system as it stands right now?
So I taught for Kenai Peninsula Borough School District for 26 years. Prior to that, I subbed in the district. I've been very active in the district for over 30 years between being a mom, being a grandma, being a teacher. I retired last year, namely because I saw a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of things that were happening that I didn't agree with. It almost pushed me out of the school because I was not in agreement with a lot of policies that were happening, the curriculum that was being implemented into our schools. And it's very hard to speak out when you're employed by the district against the district and things that are happening. So I retired. I'm still interested. I still want to keep things going in the right direction for our students and our families.
And in our previous conversations, I think it's been, you've identified that you've attended most all of the school board meetings recently. Is that true?
I do. I attend the school, even prior to retiring, I would attend school board meetings. I would speak at school board meetings. I would listen to work sessions. It kind of became an odd passion and interest of mine because I figured out that's where the change happens. And those are the people that you have to talk to. So this year I've attended every school board meeting with the exception of last night. I speak at most school board meetings. I speak there either as an individual or as the chapter chair for Moms for Liberty, depending on the subject. But I do try to stay informed, and I email them. I try to talk to them. I met with a school board member not long ago. So I feel like I'm finally maybe getting to a point they might start listening, but not quite there yet.
Okay. Can you introduce Moms for Liberty?
So Moms for Liberty is a national organization, and their passion is fighting for the rights of parents to educate, empower parents to hold government accountable at all levels. They work mostly at the school board level, and so that is why I focus also at the school board level. But mainly they fight for parent rights and within the schools and holding government accountable.
And are you affiliated with that organization?
I am the local chapter chair. We've also just started a legislative committee statewide, and I am the secretary for that on the legislative committee.
Interesting. Is this something that other concerned parents and or teachers can get involved with throughout the state of Alaska?
Absolutely. There's 4 chapters in Alaska. There's one in Fairbanks, there's one in the Mat-Su, one in Anchorage, and now one on the Kenai Peninsula. And even though the title of it is Moms for Liberty, it's not just for moms. I'm a grandma. There's dads who run chapters. It's for anybody who wants to join the fight in holding our leaders accountable and speaking out for parent rights. So anybody can be part of this.
Okay. At the end of the show, we'll give you an opportunity to give your contact info out. In other areas of the state, how do people get involved?
If they email me, I can give them all those, or you can also look, National has a website, and that's how I found it. There's a national website, and then within that, there's a map, and it says find your people, and you click on those links, and it joins you to wherever you live to a chapter there.
Very good.
And you find your people.
I like that. Yeah, find your people. What is the national website address?
It's just Moms for Liberty. you just look up Moms for Liberty and that's it.
Just Google Moms for
I don't
Liberty
know
and
this.
it comes right up.
Just Google Moms for Liberty. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the issues that you hear from teachers and from parents that are top concerns right now with our school system?
Well, teachers, a lot of it is the workload. A lot of it is class sizes. We have some classrooms that have 30 students in them, and personal experience, that's a lot of students to have packed into a classroom. And another concern is the curriculum that we're putting into our schools. There's things in there that are not age appropriate. I didn't sign up at second grade to teach second graders about the God of pleasure and wine. And our current language arts curriculum, core knowledge language, is at second grade level, we were teaching about the God of pleasure and wine. And those things really bothered me. We were given a directive to teach that curriculum for 120 minutes and not use anything else. So I tried really hard to do that the first semester because I was directed to do so. So I had to. Around January of last year, when I did my benchmark testing, my students had not grown in reading at all. So I called central office and I said, this program, it is not working. We had already been to school board meetings prior to that and talked about it, that it had missing components. And at that time, somebody at the central office told me that I had to wait 3 years, that my students will see growth in 3 years. And I said, I don't have 3 years. So
wow.
I kind of switched stuff around. Yes, I switched things around. I did the bare minimum of what I had to do because I was directed to do it, and I'm going to follow the directives that I'm given. But I added back all the other components of reading, and my students' reading scores just shot up by May.
What is that curriculum called again?
Core knowledge language. CKLA is the abbreviation for it. Core knowledge language. It's through Amplify.
Is that a decision that was made by our local school district, or is that a mandate from the state or from the federal?
Nope. It was our local school district that made the decision. And even during its implementation, another colleague and I were going to school board meetings. There's an article in the Clarion from about 2 years ago in May that we reported this inappropriate content. The first year they removed it. We were supposed to teach world religions at second grade as well. And I said, I'm not comfortable doing that. First of all, I don't know all those components. I'm not comfortable teaching families about world religions. I don't think that's my place. So they removed it the first year. We're supposed to replace it with Alaska Studies. And now my understanding is that that world religion piece has been put back in and not Alaska Studies. Now I lost my train of thought, but
that's good because that's the host's responsibility. Now I get to ask another question.
Okay.
You did just fine. So when you say that the curriculum is picked, is that a administrator or administrative decision within the district, or does the school board get involved, or does the school board give a blessing on that decision?
What I saw happen is this process happened really quickly. The Alaska Reads Act came through. We had paid for a curriculum. It was called Fountas and Pinnell about 2 years prior. We spent millions of dollars on this curriculum, and then it was found to be deficient in a lot of areas. We were told to throw that curriculum away, all of it away, or store it. Wasted millions of dollars purchasing a curriculum. So when Alaska Reads Act came through, central office decided we needed a new curriculum since we had to throw the other one away, the millions of dollars we had just spent to throw that one away. Deed recommended 3 different curriculum materials, and then central office forms a committee, and they go through all the curriculum materials. When a curriculum is chosen, and then the curriculum director presented it to the school board. There's no voting. The school board doesn't vote on the curriculum. They see this presentation and they went, oh yeah, that looks good. But they had never seen the curriculum and they approved it, however that might be. And then it was implemented. So Clayton Holland at one point, I do believe, say that he agreed that it was a very rushed process.
What was the
I don't
rush?
even know the word.
What was the cause of the rush? Was it a self-imposed deadline, or was there a state deadline by which the decision had to be made, or what caused the rush?
I'm not even sure. There was a grant. There was $1 million. They say, well, it wasn't $1 million grant because it's not exactly $1 million. It was probably 9 point whatever, close to $1 million grant that our school district got to purchase this curriculum. So I don't know if the pressure was to hurry up and get that grant or to hurry up and go, yes, we're following the Alaska Reads Act. I don't know what the rush was, but it's from December. That curriculum was put out and it was approved in February. And that's a really fast-paced way to choose curriculum. The following year, when it was first implemented, we asked for a committee to be able to look at the curriculum. We met twice. I was part of that curriculum. We met twice, or that committee met twice. They would never allow the public to see the materials. They would never allow anybody else. If you weren't a teacher, you didn't see the materials, even though you were on this committee. And after 2 meetings, they disbanded that committee. So it's just interesting the way things go around. Like they don't want to hear anything that says, hey, we need to look at this again. We made a mistake.
Wow. How
Yeah.
long, how much lead time did the teachers get with the curriculum before the start of the school year?
Oh, none, maybe 2 days, of training. It was fast paced. It was rushed. It was like, unbox your materials, school starting, let's go. And then the trainers came here and quite frankly, they were horrible. They were horrible. I don't even think they're allowed in the district to come train anymore. So now we have a curriculum and we're paying for that curriculum. We get workbooks, but we don't use the workbooks, but we're still paying for workbooks. Even though we tell them we're not using the workbooks, we're still paying for these workbooks. Curriculum is such a waste of money and we change it every 5 years. Like, why? That is probably my big number. Besides pupil teacher ratio, the curriculum, those are two of my biggest pet peeves right now with the district. It's just a waste of money.
You said that you've spent a significant time teaching.
Yes.
Do you have a sense for why teachers are not staying with the district?
I would say it's work environment. I mean, I know on the teacher retention and recruitment playbook, the number one thing is salary. The second thing is work environment. And it's maybe not so much the work environment within the building, but it's the directives coming down from central office on the things that we have to do, and with zero compensation. I mean, teachers are burned out. They are tired and they're working hard and getting more and more duties as assigned put on them with zero compensation. Like, I sub now and I won't sub in a regular classroom because I don't want to be in that environment anymore. I do aid jobs where I'm just working with a small group of children, but I won't put myself back in that position of being stressed out like that. So I think they're leaving because of work environment.
When you retired, and you retired recently,
Yes.
Did the school district conduct an exit interview with you to collect the knowledge that you have, or the feelings that you have?
They did not. No. And other districts do that. It's part of the teacher retention and recruitment playbook is to do exit interviews. The Matsu district does an exit interview, whether you're retiring or just leaving. They collect that data, find out why teachers are leaving. Fairbanks North Star Borough does an exit interview. I don't know about Anchorage, but Kenai Peninsula does not do an exit interview. So I feel like we're falling short there. They're missing a lot of valuable information by not conducting that survey. I mean, I've asked the school board to just have an open forum with teachers, and he said he was uninterested in doing that. So
who was he?
The president of the school board, Zen Kelly.
Okay.
I asked if he would do an open forum without central office present so that teachers could just speak their mind and let them know how they're feeling. And he said he was uninterested in doing that.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So
yeah,
you retired. Maybe there's a different process for teachers that are leaving before their retirement age or time in service or however that's
Yeah.
determined for them. Are teachers that quit approached by the district that you know of? I mean, obviously you didn't fit into that category, but do you
Right.
know of teachers who are leaving prematurely are conducting exit interviews with the borough?
Not to my knowledge. We had a teacher leave last year in November, right at Thanksgiving because of the stress level. And I don't think they did an exit interview with her. I haven't heard of anybody who's gotten an exit interview. I mean, to the point KPEA, the union, is asking them to do exit interviews. So I know I'm not the only one that's noticing that they're not doing this. They're not collecting that. It's really important data. Find out why people are leaving.
Well, it's actually shocking, Donna, because I was in the legislature for 6 years, and every year during budget season, we would have representatives from our local school district and other districts around the state come and have a conversation about the priorities for those districts. And every single year, I would hear priorities from our school district that said, hey, we've got a recruiting and retention problem, and we need a defined benefits retirement system. That's the number one problem for why
Yeah.
people are leaving the school district, and we can't keep them in. And
Yeah.
and what I'm hearing from you is that there's no evidence to back that up. I've got administrators and union leaders that have sat in my office and told me what amounts to probably a bald-faced lie,
Yeah.
because they don't have the data to back that
Right.
up. They aren't even actually asking the questions of the teachers who are leaving.
They are not. And neither is the union. I had a colleague who tried to get a new business item passed at last NEA delegate assembly, asking that the union survey teachers before they promote anything. And it passed in the committee and then did not pass on the floor. So our central office people don't want to hear, and the union also don't want to hear from teachers. And yet they say they're representing us. But I don't know anybody who left and said, I'm leaving because I don't have a retirement package. I've not had one person ever say that. People leave because of the working conditions and because of salary. I mean, I think our union just put in negotiations and they're asking for a 22% pay raise for teachers, and not even just to keep up with inflation, but to keep up with other districts in Alaska, where we're falling behind that way. So, Matsu seems to be paying their teachers well, and I think it's pretty much the same size. So how are they able to do that and we're not?
So let me ask a question that is maybe a little harder to answer. And if you've got no reference, then that's fine. Just say you'll have to ask
Okay.
them. But you've spoken on kind of what your sense is of why teachers have left. Do you have a
Yes.
sense on why parents have chosen to pull their kids from the classroom?
I would say very similar reasons: very large class sizes and the curriculum. It really boils down to those things, and maybe some policy, or maybe they just get upset at something and we can't figure it out. But I think it's the same reasons that teachers are leaving. They're not happy with the curriculum and the class sizes. But nobody's asking. Nobody's asking why students are leaving and going to IDEA or going somewhere else. I had a school board member step into a classroom last year when I was talking about class sizes. He stepped in, he counted the heads in that classroom to make sure, I guess, I was telling the truth. There really are 30 bodies in here. And his response was, wow, that's a lot of money. Not, that's a lot of kids. It was, that's a lot of money. I mean, if the district wants more money, if they think they need more funding, then we need to retain students. That's how our revenue goes up, by retaining students.
That's a very good observation. That is the school district's revenue stream.
Yes, that
From
is
a
the revenue
financing
stream.
perspective.
Clayton Holland said we don't have a revenue stream, and yes, we do. Our students are our revenue stream, so we need to keep them.
Yeah, in a competitive environment where parents have a choice.
Yes.
You most
Well, I
definitely
look at
do.
charter schools that are doing so well. We're number one in the nation. They have control over their curriculum. They have control over their pupil teacher ratios. They have control of, parents are involved. I mean, when I was most successful as a teacher, it's when I included the parents. You have to include the parents in all of these decisions that you're making. I mean, I've had some very difficult students that turned around because I included the parents. And I think we're leaving them out in some ways.
Let me ask another hard question, and this is focused on families, parents, and involvement. Um, if you had a class of 30, just hypothetically speaking here, based on your experience, if there was a class of 30, how many parents out of that 30 were disengaged and you didn't have any hope of being able to reach them?
Oh, probably 5 or 6. I mean, I developed pretty good relationships with my families, but probably like if they weren't coming to conferences, those kind of things, like if I never saw them throughout the whole school year, they never answered a seesaw message or any of those things. I'd say probably a third of the class, but that's also equivalent to what I saw rise in foster care in my classroom through the last 30 years of education. When I first started teaching, I would have 1 or 2 students in foster care. And near the end, consistently, I would have a third of my class had either been in foster care or were actively in foster care. So there's just some holes that need to be filled. And my last few years of teaching became a lot of what felt like parenting and not teaching. And I didn't feel it was my place to parent. It was my job to teach.
Yeah, that speaks to a much deeper problem
Yes.
than what the
Yes.
school district can actually deal with. It. No answers there for
Yes.
curriculum choice, right?
Yeah. Pardon me?
I said there's no answers there with whatever curriculum you pick.
Yeah. I mean, right. Right. I mean, but there are schools. There's a school in Steubenville, that whole district out in Steubenville, very low income, single moms. Those kids are reading because they do things right. They do small groups of tutoring. They have pre-K, early elementary education. They do one-on-one tutoring. So without money, they do all those things without more money. They're doing things right.
Yeah.
I can send you a link to that study, but it's
do.
really interesting. It's not the money, it's what we're doing and the policies and the things that we're doing in the building that are going to help these kids be successful.
Well, I can tell you that my time in the legislature also, I heard many times that, hey, you know what, we can't really duplicate what's happening in charter schools because, not all parents care. And many parents are disengaged. And I know I'm just talking with you and just based on your personal experience. If you've got a classroom of 30 and 5 or 6 of those families fall into the category of disengaged, that's not even close to a majority of the kids in that classroom. And I mean, this is just anecdotal, right? Right. Your personal experience. I don't know whether this is the same for every school system in the state or every school, every teacher relationship and how they run their classroom. A lot of variables there, but
yes,
it gives me hope. And my gut intuition tells me that the majority of parents out there care.
They do.
They care.
They do.
And there's a handful of people in each instance who are needing more. They're needing more attention or more. They didn't have the correct upbringing when they were kids or whatever. I mean, it's a cyclical thing, and it's a disease in our culture, so to speak. But
yes,
when a teacher wants to engage with parents, in your experience, the majority of parents were there to engage. Is that a true statement?
I would say so. I mean, there were some that would not, but I tried to maintain just that positive relationship as much as I could. I mean, we have to get the parents in there, and there are some that don't want anything to do with public schools. They had, like you said, either a poor experience, they don't want anything, they will not walk in the building. So in those instances, I just do what I can to make it a positive experience for the student. You're under my care from this time to this time, and we're here to learn. So let's just focus on that. Let's focus on learning. We're here to learn. So I can't change the trajectory for every child, but I tried to change the ones that I could.
Yeah. Well, that's what you can do.
Yes.
Do what you can do.
Yes.
Well, I think we're approaching the wrap up of our time here. I appreciate
Okay.
you coming on the show and expressing what you're dealing with here with Moms for
Yeah.
Liberty and pursuing solutions at the local level for improving the quality of education. I bet when you retired, it was a bittersweet thing to retire, and you didn't really know
Yes.
that you'd be this involved in the education system afterwards.
I did not. Actually, when I retired, I said, I'll be back because these are my friends and I don't need new friends. But apparently there was a different plan. I needed new friends. So, and my old friends, I still go back and see them. But no, I had no idea that I would be starting a Moms for Liberty chapter, that I would be involved and still be in it as far as I am. I want what's best for our students. And I'm pretty well known for advocating for teachers and students in this community. I will say our assistant superintendent came to my retirement party because she wanted to honor the advocacy that I have had for families and teachers. And that did mean something to me. She did show up and say, thank you for advocating. I think they thought I would stop, but I can't. I would have kept teaching another 5 years, but I felt a pull to do something different.
Wow. Well, I hope that your efforts are rewarded with some change that's desperately needed. I
hope so.
quickly looked up the address for Moms for Liberty is just that, momsforliberty.org.
Yep.
And if you don't type that in and just Google Moms for Liberty, it comes right up. Will you give some contact info for yourself if people listening to this show want to get in touch with you in their own area? How do they do that?
So the Moms for Liberty email, it's moms, 4, liberty, KPEN @gmail.com. And then do you want my phone number?
If you're willing to give it out.
I have protected it for a number of years, but I'm finding that I need to protect it less and less. So it's 907-252-7207.
Okay.
So the email is moms, and it's the 4 liberty, KPEN @gmail.com.
Okay.
And phone 907-252-7207.
Thank you, Donna. And
okay,
for those around the state listening and hearing this, and this resonates with you, here is an avenue for connecting with other parents and teachers who are looking for grassroots change in our schooling system to improve the quality of our education. And it isn't, as we're finding out, just a funding problem. It is also a management problem. It's a policy problem, and local engagement is necessary. So if you've listened to the show and you like what you heard, you want to help with keeping the lights on, please go to mustreadalaska.com and click on the donate link. I'm Ben Carpenter for the Must Read Alaska show, signing off. Stay frosty out there.